Hello and welcome to Odessa. This is Dresden's Tale. I'm your guide, Lewis Nichols. This is episode 6 in our series, an adventure where we follow Dresden Fane, a dwarven warlock, making his way through a hostile world. We have only begun to explore the places he'll go and the things that he'll see. Here in chapter 5, things don't start out so dangerously. He's sitting in a bar at a window, gazing out at the sunset. The strange Odessan sun setting on the green, choppy surf. That's right. He's made it to Orlok's Cove, to the coast. And that sun goes down. He just expects to see steam flying up, but that doesn't happen. It's what we'd call normal, no matter how strange it is for him. He had even went for a swim in the ocean earlier. He used to go swimming in the bay during the summers back in Parnsilia, but this water's, the ocean's different, just like the sun's different. It's way too salty for his taste. He's at the Sunset Inn, and that's a bar run by the Stone Clan. It's open to militia members. They don't need to pay. They earn their service. They earn their rights to a drink and some relaxation. Odessa is primarily controlled by the Stone Clan. Orlok's Cove itself, one of the bigger settlements built on the ruins of a Hessian city, is a clan neutral city. One of its big industries, so to speak, they're building a navy because they know that there's more Hessians out in the ocean on islands and archipelago full of heretics, something that the Celts cannot abide by. Dresden's not alone. He looks over to the native elf that works there in the bar. That's why we beat you. The duality is a key tenet of the faith. I know you know what I mean. He was trying to flirt, but he knew he wasn't very good at it. He kept trying anyway. The only reason she was on the staff was because she was pretty, and he was pretty sure that the only reason that she spoke to him at all was a fear of getting in trouble. You didn't beat me. My village worked with you from the beginning. Besides, I really don't understand that stuff. If warriors do all the work, then what's everybody else supposed to do? For that matter, what's the point of being a warrior? The bar workers were barely dressed, and Dresden was loving it. Parnsilia was not remotely prudish, but this was something new. When he thought about it, he figured that similar places probably existed back home. It's just no one had bothered to tell him about them. Eastern warriors, like from Parnsilia, they often exposed a great deal of skin, but some of the women and a few of the men were completely naked. What? No, he was frustrated. The natural order of things is to pursue the furtherance of the faith. Sitting at home and letting somebody else fight your battles is the coward's way. Those who cannot fight by some defect, the proles, are like children. They are to be protected. They're taught so they can contribute, but lacking the fortitude for conflict, they are below us. Able-bodied men and women, he stopped and thought about it for a second. Women have a harder place, I think. They have to give us children, but they still have the right to take up arms. Dresden realized how much he was talking and felt embarrassed. He was just being a jabbering fool. The Odessan elf didn't look like those from home. She was light-skinned, but not pasty like Moldav elves. He found himself fascinated by her shock red hair. For Dresden, the only turnoff was her rail thin figure. Sexual preference was complicated. It was normal versus taboo, and it varied from clan to clan and species to species and even person to person. Most of his friends thought Dresden was too picky, and his older cousin called him a prude. The thing they complained the most about was his disaffection with hair, what many would call the fur barrier. It was something he had no interest in crossing. Dresden admitted that certain Tagara were attractive, but the idea of more than looking was too much for him. Monkey and Minotaur were completely out of the question. Humans were just too tall. Frolicking with somebody so big just didn't feel right to the dwarf. He, of course, agreed that with most bipeds that anyone with 4 feet was off limits. Saurian, Pterodon, Ranaean, they were all out of the question as well. So that left brownies and gnomes and some of the shorter elves. Of course, there were other dwarves. In mathematical terms, he was open to roughly 10% of the population. That's what he figured anyway. After excluding the males, which he wasn't interested, and eliminating those that he considered either unattractive or completely unattainable, he calculated there were roughly 3 women in his clan available for him, and he didn't know any of them. A number, it was supposed to be humorous, but it was a little too depressing for the young man to care for. Given the limited field, he was more than willing to listen to the girls' questions, no matter how obvious the answers seemed to be. Okay, so if the warriors are the builders, who's at home building? She reached out and touched his arm with the question. He worried that she wasn't very bright. Well, not every warrior goes out every season. Besides, war generates income. He knew he was very close to just spouting dogma. He understood the duality completely. It was just complicated to explain. She went to get him fresh drinks, and when she returned, she just plopped down on his lap as it was the most natural thing in the world. He put a rough hand on the soft skin and the base of her back and gently ran it up and down. Okay, so every year, half your city goes off to war. The other half stays home and tends crops and makes weapons and builds temples, and they do other stuff. But an army needs more than warriors. Who cares for your mounts? Who fixes your clothes and builds like bridges and stuff? Fuck, woman. I thought they had schools to teach you this stuff. Dresden tried to calm his frustration. Look, that's the whole point. He realized she looked scared and started to feel bad about his tone. It's about teamwork. Everybody takes care of each other's needs. I'm a craftsman, so if somebody needs an axe handle, I make one for them. If I need a shirt mended, then somebody helps me out. If someone hunts down a deer, we all eat. All warriors are equally responsible for the clan. She looked terrified. Please, don't report me. She was starting to cry. I don't want to go back to the camps. I tried to learn. She kissed him, driving her small tongue into his mouth. Her hand went into his shirt to rub his chest. Then it went lower. Almost reflexively, he moved his hand down to her bare behind, letting himself explore. Yes, he thought, he'd finally found his way back to grace. Dresden was about to ask where they could go when suddenly Captain Larafin arrived. Let's go, man. Curfew was 10 minutes ago. Dresden could have cried. Just please don't tell anybody. She pressed his hand against her breast. Come back tomorrow. Somebody grabbed him by the collar and ushered him out towards the door. The large human patted the elf on the rump. Hello, Jaziel. Daddy's back. Dresden hadn't even asked her name. He chastised himself for being an idiot. The bartenders were already changing out the cheap beer for better brewed ales. guardsmen were taken care of, just not as well as the veterans. "Noobs out!" Someone else was yelling at them. On his way out the door, he caught a look at the new group of attendants coming in. Jaziel was pretty, but these girls made Dresden melt. "Someday, Fane," Staten patted him on the back. As he queered a bunkmate, snorted, "One day, even you might get laid." So that'll do it for chapter 5. Get a little more into some interaction, a little less exposition in this one. That'll be the rule as we go on. I've flooded you with a lot of information. Keep in mind, there's even more facts and information on the companion episode of series of Nuts and Bolts. Feel free to leave comments and queries in the comments down there, and maybe I'll address them in future episodes of Nuts and Bolts. Whereas we are pre-recording all of Season 1 for Dresden's Tale, we're going to have the one or two accompanying series that I can be more responsive as my viewership grows. I'm sure I'm probably almost to, maybe 5 or 6 people now. Since you are one of those half dozen folks, I'd appreciate it very much if you could hit the like button. If you feel like it, you can hit subscribe, and while I mentioned the like button, you can hit the unlike button if you want to. It doesn't matter to me. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I appreciate the fact that you were here and listening. If you're excited about it, if you want to keep me going there, feel free to visit my Patreon page. You can also download the book on Amazon for Kindle. Obviously, we're telling you all the stuff right now. You already know most of them. I'm sure this isn't the first YouTube channel that you've listened to. So I'm going to leave you to it, and I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. We will see you next time.